What's up? My name's Ethan,
I'm Ben.
I'm Kabir.
and welcome to My Matters. Today we are recording our 19th episode, and we have a very special guest. David, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, my name's David Artz. I'm a junior here at Glenbrook North High School. I just want to say thank you guys for having me on the podcast here today.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on, David. I know David because he was in my radio class last year. He's in my radio class this year, and I've seen all the things he's done on the live on the radio with his own podcast. So I guess the one thing that really I think when it comes to is your organization, right? Your podcast, Story 8 Help. So do you want to just give a little bit of background info on that?
And background on your story too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we can start from the beginning. I was born in Tianjin, China. I don't even understand part of it because obviously I don't remember it. But when I was 1.5, I was put in a foster system. I was abandoned. I was left on the streets, put into a foster/orphanage system. It's kind of a different system there than here, obviously. So over there, you're basically put into a system where you go to school, but at the nighttime you get to go home into a family. So you don't live on the campus itself. So I was there for about 6 years, 7.5. I was adopted. But within that 6 years, I was constantly bullied. I was left out different things. Food was really not a thing for me, and water wasn't a thing. So I was starving. I was hungry. I had 6 other siblings who were in the same boat as me.
Wow.
And so I was one of the oldest, so I was there kind of as their parent actually. So from almost 5, 6, and 7.5 on, I was really a parent of 6 other people.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of one of those things where it was hard to deal with. And looking back now, I can't believe I went through that. Once I was adopted again at 7.5, I was traveled to the U.S. To live with my foster family. Food and stuff was absolutely great. I didn't even understand what food was really. It was great to taste like a McDonald's burger,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's so it's like so simple yet so complicated for someone who's gone through something like me, what I have gone through. Like when you go to McDonald's, you probably just go there and be like, oh yeah, there's another Big Mac. But when I go there, I'm like, oh my gosh, a little bit ago I didn't even have a burger. I didn't even have a sandwich at all. And so obviously it's changed who I am. But I think it's also helped me. And as a person who has skin condition as well, called IFAP, it's an acronym, and it basically it's through the X chromosome. So the female is a carrier who doesn't show features of it, and they pass it down over to the males, and the males get to show the features of it. And again, if it's a female, then it will be a carrier as well. So at some point, you will see a male figure who displays it, but you never really know. And I guess females don't really know either that they're carriers because they look perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And who would think that they have a skin condition, right? So it's really hard to understand that as a child, and especially as a teen. It's like why me? But
Yeah.
I think things happen for a reason, and I think it's happened to me because I'm a person who falls into the mental health field a lot, and I'm an advocate for teens with
Yeah.
mental health. So I think it's really shaped my story, shaped my life, and that's where my organization, nonprofit, comes in. And that's just my nonprofit, Story 8 Help. And we kind of just help people who have mental health issues and who have mental health, they're struggling with mental health and they need support.
Yeah.
And, I'm the person who kind of help them find resources, help them through my story, through other people's story, through posts and videos that I post. And it's great to be in a community where people are so, wanting to be part of this big community as well.
Yeah, obviously that's an incredibly powerful story, and being in that, you faced an incredible set of challenges over the course of your life, especially early in China with those like negligent, that condition of negligence you were in.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I'm listening to that. Something that really stood out was the fact that you realized when you came to the United States that food and water are rights, not privileges. That, kind of made me wonder, like, how has life been? Like, how have you adapted to life in the United States, especially since, in China, you said that you were kind of a parental figure to like 6 other people, which is beyond, like, it's unbelievable for, I'm sure, Ethan and Ben can agree with me on this, but, that's like an incredible thing to be doing at such a young age, and especially in your set of conditions. So, like, when you came to the United States, how did that, stay the same? How did that change? How did you adapt to life in this country?
Yeah, so obviously, if you know anything about China, it's kind of like one of those countries where they don't really care about anything. And so, really, when you over there, food and stuff, it's that's not really a privilege or a right for them. And so when you come over here and you learn your basic rights of being an American citizen, you finally realize that over here it's a lot better, and that's why so many people want to be here. And obviously you don't understand that as a 6-year-old nor a 10-year-old, because your brain's just not developed enough to understand what's happening in life.
Yeah.
But again, it's definitely one of those things where you keep in mind that it's kind of where you were from, and then where you are now. It's you live through it, and you can you can tell people, oh, I've been through there.
Exactly.
I've been there.
It's a cool story, right?
Yeah. It's definitely something newsworthy.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's great. I have such a privilege of telling people my story, and I see people's faces when I tell them. I see people, and they're always like, "Wow, what that's crazy."
It's crazy. Yeah.
It is.
So yeah. Oh, sorry, did I cut you off?
Yeah. So like I was saying, it's not a privilege here. It's a basic right of
Yeah,
humans.
exactly. Yeah.
And so it's amazing to be able to be in this community of people and this country where that is a privilege and a right.
I mean, everything from your story is just so inspiring. The being abandoned in China, being in a foster home, then being adopted, having that privilege of being adopted here, and then your skin condition, right? And I think, not many can relate to being adopted at 1 year old or however old you were, and then moving across countries, even though that's very inspiring. I just want to ask though, you said you were bullied a lot because of your skin condition, and I feel like a lot of other teens can relate to that. Not exactly, I mean, maybe it's a skin condition, but it could be another thing too. What would you say is good advice or words of wisdom that you can give to those teens that are struggling with bullying based off of how they look, or maybe how they talk, act, whatever it is?
Yeah, if I had one message to people who are struggling with mental health right now, it'd be keep fighting, because you might not believe it now, but it will get better.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where I had to figure out myself, and definitely reaching out is your number one way to get through it faster. But working through it, the hard parts and the easy parts, and just try and stay on track with what you're doing. And if you're gonna do something like what I do, doing a nonprofit or whatever, just keep pulling through with it, because at some point it's gonna be all worth it at some point, and just keep fighting.
Yeah, so, another interesting part about your story that I think is so valuable is a lot of people, when they're bullied at school, they might be able to find friends at home or within some other community, right? But as a young David Artz, a 7.5-year-old, is that right?
Yep.
Kid coming to the United States, did you know English? You did not know English. So you're in school, you don't know English. You have a skin condition that makes you look different from everybody else. You're being bullied. You're so isolated. Like, what in your almost inherent humanity, drove you to like keep on going? What can people find in themselves at their core when they don't have other people to lean on to keep on going? And can you speak on like that mentality that
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even like imagine,
Yeah.
and I don't think any of us can imagine.
Yeah.
We've
Not
experienced
even
mental
close,
health
yeah.
issues, but it doesn't even, I mean, compare to that feeling that you must have had. So what was your mentality? Like what drove you to keep on going?
Yeah,
Keep on
I
fighting, like you said.
definitely having a young kid's brain helped. Being absolutely have no clue of what was happening. But again, the it's in a way, when you're a kid, you kind of like your internal instincts know what's happening, but your brain can't comprehend what's happening. And what was lucky for me was I had just one person in first grade came up to me and was friendly. It just takes one person, honestly, and if you can find that one person, because there is that one person out there for you, it's one of those things where you just need a little help from the back, but it's really all on your own that you have to deal with. And definitely when you have no idea who anyone is in the school nor in your community at all, it's one of those things where you just gotta like it's really hard. Uh, and honestly, I don't even know how I got through it. Besides the fact that I just kept pushing through, and it's kind of like one of those things where I didn't understand what was going on, so it was easier for me to push through. And yeah, I can't imagine anyone else, 13 plus, who's going through the same thing. Try and find friends who can, remotely understand what they're going through. So it's definitely hard, but like I said, you just gotta keep pushing. It's gonna get tough at some point, but you just gotta keep working on it.
And something, the fact that you kind of sought help in that one person, with that one person when you were very young, I think that kind of reiterates one of the key points that we make on this show, which is seeking refuge in other people, seeking help for whatever you're experiencing. Like you can do it with other people, right? And you don't have to be alone in your struggles. But I think given how, interconnected your skin condition and your mental health have been in your life, when creating an organization like yours that's like truly, unique, distinctive, how did you make the choice about, whether to focus your organization's mission on your skin condition as opposed to, mental health in general? Like, what made you, because obviously you have a very, different set of circumstances
Yeah.
that maybe most people can't relate to. So what made you decide to focus on the more mental health aspect of it as opposed to the skin condition advocacy?
Yeah, so when you think about people who have skin conditions, you only think about a few people, right? And that's kind of what drove me into the mental health field, is because everything is really connected to your brain and how you think. And I don't think people realize that enough, that it's really your brain who's doing what's doing all the work for you. And when you're the person who is in need of help, who is having this situation, it's the mental health that is really affecting on whether you can keep going, or if you're just like gonna crash out. And to be able to figure out the mental health field aspect of that, you kind of have to be with the community. And so, yes, I could have gone into the community for skin conditions, and there's a lot of people who do, but there's definitely more people into the mental health field, and that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be there with everyone else who wants to learn more about mental health or preach about mental health, because I think it's one of the most important things in your life. And I feel like, and I believe everyone should know at least a little bit about mental health.
Yeah. I guess like with your story, right? Something that we've mentioned is kind of how obstacles in the moment, it's like, why me, right? Like, why? The only thing you want is just for this obstacle to move, right? But we talk about how struggle makes success sweeter, right?
Yes.
And the more you struggle, the more challenges you're faced with. It's like a video game, right? The more levels you have to complete, the more satisfying it is when you complete that game. So I guess my last question for you is, it seems like you've kind of come to terms, right, with
Yep.
with your physical condition, with your background in terms of being adopted, and I just want to ask you, like, for anyone else who's struggling to accept maybe their identity or their background, like what are some additional words of wisdom that you can give to someone to inspire them, like, hey, it does get better, and these challenges, like, they define who you are in a good way or a bad way, right? But I just want to know your take on that.
Really, the biggest thing is to believe in yourself. I think that's the most important thing, is to believe in what you're doing. I think a lot of people who are, people don't like to say this, but it's true. People who are suicidal, they don't really believe in what they're doing and what their life is all about. And I think, if we all believed in what we were doing in life, there would be definitely less suicidal accidents. There would be less attempts of it, and definitely reaching out to someone that you care about is the first step. It doesn't have to be a trained professional. A lot of people are like, go see a trained professional. No, you don't have to do that, right? It's good to, because they can help you, teach you strategies. But I found the best way to really help yourself is to go to friends, go to family, who know who you are, and they can help you, because they see it firsthand on what you're doing to yourself, and your impact on other people are. So definitely keep pushing through, but definitely get that help that you need.
So, I wanted to ask you, it was so interesting when you talked about that one person, like in first grade or second grade, whatever you said, who you were able to rely on, and obviously that had a big impact on you. And that's kind of the message that we want to share here. Like, we want you to be that person who would reach out to, somebody who just came, is maybe new in the school. And, it's so hard. Like, when you imagine, I'm sure our listeners imagining in the head, when you're like a young kid sitting in the classroom and you've already been bullied, you've already been ostracized, how hard it is to be that kid who kind of goes against the grain and says, David Artz, like, tell me more about you. Like, not forgetting about what everybody else says. So the message that we kind of want to share is you want to be that person, because it can have such an impact. And I want you to, like, I'm sure you have that person in mind, but can you describe a little bit more that impact the person who went against the grain and reached out to you? How much of an impact did that have on you?
Right. That one person is absolutely everything in mental health. It only takes one person, and that one person can be anyone. And definitely the characters of a good friend is you're there for them whenever they need you, and they're there for you when you don't need them. And obviously showing up, being there, and reaching out to someone can be hard, and it can put you at a path of hate as well. And I definitely know this person didn't have to reach out, but obviously there was that one person that cared enough, and I believe that in their head was saying, you go reach out to him, because there's obviously something there for you to. And he wasn't born in China, but he was in the kind of same area that I was in, of not knowing anyone, and so it was really great of him to reach out and to stop by saying hi and kind of getting to know each other a little more. And it can be scary, and obviously I know that, because I've done it before too, but just that one little push can move you towards the right direction.
Yeah, and just kind of my last remark for you, or my last question would be, kind of, where do you see your organization or your Story Aid Help going in the future, right? Like, obviously you started this to help people with their mental health. Like, ultimately, what do you hope to achieve with Story Aid Help?
Yeah, so it's really a hard question, just because I can't really see into the future. But I turn 18 really soon, and so I really want to be able to put this as a backbone for me, and kind of just push this through the legal side first, and then I want to push this out as much as I can into the mental health community, right? I want to push it out everywhere. I want to work with other nonprofits. I want to work with other people who are associated influencers, because that's really the way that we work nowadays is the word of mouth, social media, just kind of getting this, the story out there, the message, and there will be people there to listen to you, and that's where I want to be. And obviously, I was on the news. Not obviously, I was on the news, and I hope to be on the news more, spreading the messages that I hope that everyone can hear at some point in their lives.
Yeah, definitely. And keep on going because I spent obviously a lot of time reading about your story, but in like the first couple minutes of just reading your story and your
it
your
hits.
circumstances and
Yeah.
how like determined you are and resolved, it
Yeah.
had a great impact on me and motivated me. So I can't even imagine how much of an impact that you can have on more people.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
keep on going.
Yeah, David, it was such a pleasure having you on
Thank
today.
you.
I got to say, like, you really inspire me. I really, like, just see the way you carry yourself in radio, in the hallways. You don't let your background, your appearance define you. I think that's something everyone can just take some inspiration from.
Yeah.
But, this is all the time we have for today.
And
David's-
we'll be sharing before you
Yeah,
finish
yeah.
up. We'll be sharing. Hopefully, we'll have more students on who can share their stories. to
Yeah.
kind of-
Absolutely.
yeah, the goal is
Yeah.
to make mental health more mainstream in the
Definitely.
community.
Yeah.
So huge props to you, David Artz, for being the first student to come on here and be
Yeah.
vulnerable enough
go,
to
David.
share your story.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's awesome for you to do that.
Yeah.
And your story is
Absolutely
obviously such a
inspiring. Yeah.
powerful one.
Yeah. So like Ben said, we're gonna start this little mini series of different high schoolers coming on, just so we can get that perspective in the mix too. But David, again, thank you so much. We're gonna have all of David's links pinned in the description, so you can check that out. But like I said, David, thank you, and
Thank
today
you.
was a great episode. And yeah, my name's Ethan,
I'm Ben.
I'm Kabir.
and just remember, your mind matters.